Hey everybody, I'm back. So I want to come on and just kind of give a little rundown of like where I went for 2 years. And you may have noticed if you've been here before, watched some of my older videos, that I look a lot different and my surroundings are a lot different. And so part of today, I thought maybe we could chat a little bit about finding gratitude in adversity. Because adversity is exactly what I've been experiencing, but that's how we grow. And I think it's important sometimes to take a step back and realize that anytime that we ask to level up or take on new challenges and reach a new level in our lives, we got to stretch. If you've ever done yoga, you totally get it because you try a new pose. And in order for you to increase your flexibility, you have to be challenged. You have to learn how to breathe and relax through the tension to get to that new pose. And very much when we get ready to move forward, we develop the resilience through the stretch. So I think that if we can change our perspective on a situation and find gratitude in the fact that we're growing into our next level and the universe is just making sure that we're prepared. And a lot of times there's so much that lies in our subconscious mind that we're not aware of. We can think that we've made progress, that we've really grown and come so far, and then we want to ask the universe for, I want to do this. I want to go to the next level. And the universe goes, okay, buckle your seatbelt and keep your arms and legs in the car, kids, because it's going to be a rough ride. And so that's kind of what happened in my situation. I really feel that I had reached a point where I wanted to help people and I wanted to share information. And I wanted to kind of demonstrate that there were ways that we could improve our lives. And the universe was like, well, you missed a couple things. So you got to go back to boot camp. If you really want to be ready for what you want to do, you got to go back to boot camp. So I've been in boot camp for the last couple years. And I don't know if I threw some makeup on, so I'm not too awful scary, but I've been pretty sick, and I didn't know that I was sick. I just knew that my cognitive function, my physical function, things weren't right. And if you remember, if you've watched the older videos, I kept complaining about my allergies. Well, most people have seasonal allergies, not year-round allergies. But it was also the height of COVID season, and I kept rationalizing it away, It didn't seem like any time our kids came over that somebody had COVID, So I'm like, I just got COVID again. Nobody has COVID for 3 years. Well, and finally, I had reached a point where I really could not predict my cognitive function. I was having trouble recalling words. I've been on treatment now for about 4 months, so a big part of that's a brain detox. I'm coming back, but I will probably still struggle a little bit. Got my little notes here, so don't forget. What happened? I had been doing the videos and really into it, and I wanted to do the group coaching, and I went on a podcast, and I didn't know at the time, but my organs were not functioning properly. I was nervous about the podcast. Well, it actually caused my blood pressure and blood sugar to spike. And I remember I was mortified. Oh my God, it was the worst thing ever. Because as soon as we went live, my ears started buzzing. I couldn't organize my thoughts. And I was like, I'm not meant for this. I'm not cut out for this. This is not what I'm meant to do. that day, out of frustration, I threw all my recording stuff, everything in a box, and was like, I'm done. It's not my path. Whatever, Mind you, I was extremely sick. So I went back to driving a dump truck. I was like, whatever. And over the course of the next year, discovered that we had extremely high levels of toxic mold and radon in our house. And that was the reason for my cognitive decline. That was the reason for my health issues. And unfortunately, mold toxicity is not widely recognized in the medical community. So in late December of 23, we found the mold. And there's no visible mold. There were no visible signs of mold in the house. It was just airborne. And it was coming from like the walls and things like that. Well, you don't know. And we couldn't put our finger on why we didn't feel good. And so we found the mold, and in a week's time, we packed our 2,400 square foot house, what we could take. Some of it we had to get rid of. And, there was a lot that had to be done because once we moved, everything had to be washed and disinfected that we brought with us. From clothes to a tube of toothpaste, it all had to be sterilized. It was fun. So we moved into a 900 square foot house. That's been an adjustment. But that was like all within a week. We were both very sick at that point, and it actually took me another 6 months to find a doctor who could diagnose me and start treatment. Well, so that's the reason for the change in surroundings. We are in a different city, a different house, and I'm currently undergoing, I was diagnosed with mycotoxicosis, and we had 5 different types of mold at a rate of like 5,800 parts per cubic meter, which is ridiculous in any space. But we lived in that and had no idea. And then one of those was aspergillus. And because the aspergillus is very invasive, and I had a history of autoimmune, so my immune system couldn't fight it off, I ended up with like a complete systemic mycotoxin invasion, and a byproduct of the aflatoxin is gliotoxin, and that's what got in my brain. So bonus is, once again, this is where we're going to talk about adversity and not just about me. But I apologize. I did not leave any explanation. I dropped out in the middle of the 21-day challenge and just vanished, just gone. Just a lot going on, and thank you for coming back, and for all your comments. And it's been very encouraging to know that even though I wasn't actively posting, people were still seeing the videos, and it was still making a difference, because that is my calling. The difference is that I wasn't as ready as I thought I was, so the universe decided that they'd send me back to boot camp, because in the midst of all of this happening, I've had to really dig deep and find new perseverance, new faith, new trust. It's been like a trust fall with the universe, because it reached a point, we thought once we moved out that we'd start to feel better, and my guy has a healthy immune system, and he did start to feel better. I just kept getting sicker to the point where I couldn't eat. Like my organs weren't functioning right. And like I said, I went through like 8 doctors, and it was ridiculous. We'll just put it that way. It was ridiculous. I did finally find doctors who deal with this. And like I said, I've been on treatment for 4 months. Part of the treatment, between the mold, liver damage, and the medication, I'm losing my hair. So that's, every time it gets thinner, it gets shorter, and so it won't be long before I'm on here like G.I. Jane, but I'm just going to roll with it, because, G.I. Jane was a badass. So, women with shaved heads are probably pretty tough. I dyed it black because dark hair reflects light, so it looks thicker. And, I decided I just have fun with it. I call it my Wonder Woman hair because I put some blue in it. I'm like, there, I'm Wonder Woman. Woo, whatever. But it's true that when we go through situations like this, we're not being tested. It's not about being tested. We're being grown. We're being trained. We're being trained to a higher level of function, of finding our own soul and clearing our own blockages so that we can come back at the level we need to be what is required for what we've asked the universe for. So when I said I wanted to help people and I wanted to be able to help people improve their lives, the universe was like, well, that's all fine and good, but you got some polishing you need to do still. You're not done yet. And so I got sick enough around June of this year that I finally had to just admit that I couldn't work anymore. And because I had not yet received a diagnosis, I knew what was wrong with me, but I couldn't convince any medical doctor that, I need tested, this is what's going on. They aren't trained on it. So I'm still without a diagnosis and now without income. And most, like disability, any kind of assistance also does not recognize this as a viable issue. Even though the medication I'm taking and everything now is very much like chemotherapy, which is why my hair's falling out, and cancer chemotherapy is recognized. This is not. So I mean, it's just been like, I'm not saying that as like a sympathy thing. I'm saying that as like a frustration thing. Like, you're in a position that you didn't ask for, you didn't create, but you can't find a solution because no one seems to know what you're dealing with or how to deal with it. And so it's been a bit of a challenge. Basically, I felt like the universe was kind of playing Jenga with me because before, and I've mentioned in the videos, I had the autoimmune and I was able to overcome it. And speaking of bad haircuts, if you've met Smokey from the previous videos, he's here because he has to be here when I'm filming. He also has a bad haircut right now. He never did quite recover from the mold. Buddy, come here. And so he's been shaved. we're rocking the same haircut. Only he looks like he went to the Stevie Wonder School of Barbering because I did that, and I'm not a pet groomer. But anyway, so when you meet up with that kind of frustration, you feel like you're in a trust fall with the universe, and what you're learning is patience, perseverance. You dig deep within yourself and have to face all of your own insecurities, and I think a lot of the reason that we struggle so much with adversity is because there's a shame that goes along with it. When you're struggling financially, you're struggling physically, and especially when we're in our pride and our ego, we don't want to ask for help. And that's something that I'm a fiercely independent person. And my learning through this has been that you got to learn to ask for help. It's been very humbling. And I've had to look at my own hang-ups with standing in my power, even when I don't know where that power is coming from. When I don't have something behind me to say that I have worth or I have value or that I'm making a contribution. And, it's been a very, very testing, a very testing experience. But through it, I've come a long way in my perspective about things and about myself, and even about, compassion for others. You gain a whole new level, and it's one of those things that when we're going through something, from someone else's perspective, it may not seem like a big deal. But depending on what your personal life experience is, that may seem overwhelming and insurmountable. from your experience. And that's where we need to have compassion on other people. And rather than judge their situation or their ability to cope, or, oh, they're so weak or whatever, like that person is struggling. And when we go through challenges, if we can share our hardships and we can share our emotional journey through it and how we have dealt with it and overcome it, it's encouraging for other people who are struggling. And right now, there are so many people struggling. There's just a lot going on in the world overall. It's a very uncertain time. And through our hardships, we gain resilience. We gain trust. We gain patience. Patience. But I think more than anything, we learn to change our perspective. Because when we can look at a situation and think about what we're getting out of it, what is the reward? What am I learning? How am I growing? What was I able to become because of this challenge that I would not have become without it? What part of me needed addressed? And a lot of times, like with me not being able to work, and a lot of times I'm completely non-functional. I rarely drive, rarely leave the house at this time. Now, this is all temporary. It's part of the healing process. But it has forced me to stop and deal with me. That small voice inside of us, the little whisper of something you need to address, or that little niggling thing that you can kind of brush off when you're busy. When you're not busy, you can't brush it off quite as easy. And these moments where we're put in a position where things just aren't moving, there seems to be no progress, and we're just stuck there. Those are the times when we're actually being given the space to do the hard work, to do the growth, to sort through the things that we may have thought we already dealt with, just to find out that not quite. You're almost there. And by accepting, when we can release resistance, because no one wants to accept adversity. Our first response is resistance. Don't think that when I came to the realization that I did not have a job, I did not have income, I did not have my health, and because of all the expenses and everything we'd just been through with moving, my savings was gone, and I had just come back from the hurdles with the autoimmune, where I had rebuilt my health. I'd put back savings. I was in a very stable position. I was in the best health I'd been in years. And then, they're like, okay, well, that was just practice. That was warm up. We're getting you ready, because here's the real one, And it's like, but wait, wait. You just took away 5 years of my life. Well, but in exchange for what? Because we never know what we're being built up to receive. And what that tells me is that there was something in me that needed to be addressed. And I know what those things are. There were a lot of, in my own mind, I thought that I viewed myself as my stability. My ability to overcome and adapt and adjust and all these things. However, when my material foundation was stripped away, I found out I wasn't quite as solid on that, because I absolutely lost my shit. I'm like, what am I going to do? Oh my God, this is insane. And you know what? When I changed my perspective and I started reflecting on other times that things got challenging and other times that things were unpredictable and I didn't really know what the outcome was going to be, when I sit back and trust, things come through. And it's about maintaining the perspective of, life is happening for me. What's happening right now is just making me stronger. It's giving me the tools that I'm going to need for the things that I've asked for. When they say be careful what you ask for, that's why. Because when you ask to elevate and you ask to grow and you ask to be in a position of responsibility, and especially when it involves taking on other people and other people's welfare, you've got to be ready. And so I've been in boot camp getting ready. But one of the things that I've learned, and that adversity is here to teach us, is when we're able to release our need for control. We don't really have control. We have control over nothing but our own actions and our own attitude. And we stay open to positive opportunities, listen to our intuition, and then watch for the moments where we're guided to act and take action where we're guided. We'll end up where we're meant to be. But the longer we stay in resistance, the longer that we are losing our shit, questioning, why is this happening to me? It's happening for me. It's not happening to me, it's happening for me. I can't see the outcome yet, and I don't need to. All I need to know is what's the next step. What's the next step? And each time I take that next step, things start to fall in place. And once I brought myself to a point of acceptance, like, okay, it is what it is. I'm not even going to label it good or bad, because right now it just is what it is. Show me what to do. What's the next step? And I ended up stumbling across a Google article on functional health doctors, and turns out those are the people that treat mold poisoning. And got through all that, got started on the treatment. Oddly enough, like financially, I got random checks from just weird things. And like at that 11th hour, when you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know. But rather than just sit in it, stew in it, and stress about it, I was like, I don't know. I'd go to the mailbox and I'll be darned, I was part of a class action lawsuit I didn't know anything about. Here's a check. Sweet. When we trust, the universe knows what it's doing. Behind the scenes, it's arranging everything for us. And our job is just to maintain that expectation that good things are happening. This is all working in my favor. I don't know the outcome yet. I can't see it, but I can trust that it's for my best good. And I've still got about a year worth of treatment to go, which it's not fun, but it's working. And that's what counts. This is all temporary. And it's given me a chance to really kind of step back from life. And when do we get that opportunity where we are in a place of isolation, where we can really have quiet and introspection and face our demons? You know, the ones that we thought we already took care of, but we just got them quiet enough that they were kind of off to the side. When we get in that place of stillness, not only do we figure out where our demons are, we also figure out where our strengths are. We're able to really reflect on what is important and what is this teaching me? What is the purpose behind what I'm going through? Because there's always a purpose. Sometimes we can't see it in the moment. Most times we can't see it in the moment. We can only see it looking back. But it's a good time to reflect on other times that you faced adversity and be grateful, because, you know, I know, at least for me personally, looking back, that the moments in my life that I truly thought, like, this is horrible, I have no idea what to do, there's no way I can get past this, I don't even know where to start, you know. At the end of that, I was in a much better place every time. It's like the bow being drawn back in the arrow. That stretch is how we grow and we develop that. See, I can't think of the word now. Shoot. Resilience. It's how we develop the resilience to deal with life's challenges. And when we ask to level up, we got to be resilient enough to handle the things that are coming our way and build that strength, that patience, that endurance, the discipline that it's going to take. Because if we don't go through the challenge and grow, when we get to where we wanted to be, we can't sustain it because we don't have the skills. We haven't grown to where we need to be at that level. The universe knows this. Just like I thought I was good, until it's pointed out that not so much. So if you're going through adversity, and we all are at some level and some degree, one, have compassion for yourself. You're learning, you're growing, and we're going to get it wrong before we get it right. That's just how it works. It's like a video game. You get to a certain point in this level, like you're at level 1, you get to a certain point and you don't know what to do. You try one thing, it doesn't work, you start over. You get to that point again, you try something different. Each time that you get to that point, you're not really starting over because you've got experience now. You can get to that point really easy because you've mastered all of this. That's easy. You get here, well, now you got to figure out where the object you've got to find is, or how to get around this challenge or obstacle. Well, each time you get back to that point, you try something new. Eventually you find what works. But in the meantime, you've mastered everything up to that level. And then you get past that, you get to the next challenge. Well, you've got the experience from this one to help you with the next one. That's what it is. That's what life is about, is our development as a soul, as a being. And we're here to try and not only elevate ourselves, but elevate those around us. And every time you face a setback, every time you fall down, and people witness you handling it in a positive mindset, being grateful for any good things that happen, because I know for a fact, because I have been told this, people look at my life and they're like, girl, it's like a series of unfortunate events. And I'm like, but I am grateful because I know that those unfortunate events were for a reason, and it was to make me stronger and put me in a position where I could help other people who have are facing the same challenges that I've already mastered. They're here looking for that object. Well, I know how to get that object. And then because I mastered that, I got over here. And don't get me wrong, we are never done growing. Lord knows I am not ready to find my next boot camp moment, like, let me get through this one. Time out. So, I guess the takeaway, every hardship shapes us for the next level of our lives, for that next place we want to get to. We've been asking for it, we want it. We just have to be prepared so that when we get it, we don't lose it. Gratitude, trust, and a positive mindset are vital to not surviving, but thriving through our hurdles. Every day can be joyful, even in the midst of adversity. Find the moments of joy, create moments of joy, stay present. Don't look at the big picture all the time because it's overwhelming. Watch the butterfly. Be amazed at its beauty. Be grateful for the sunrise, for coffee, for whatever makes you happy. Unicorns. Surround yourself with as much positivity as you can, because that's going to help you in the day-to-day getting through the challenges, because we look at things on a level of time where the universe doesn't have a clock. They're not worried about what day it is, what week it is. We have to finish the growth. It's not like they've got an hourglass going where, oh, she's almost done. No, that's kind of up to us. And the more we stay positive and open and grateful, that's how we bring our blessings through. Doing the hard work, facing the obstacles, facing our fears, just one foot in front of the other. When we change our perspective and have the expectation that diversity is just, we're leveling up. When we face adversity, when we face adversity, we're being invited to level up, to reach the level we need to be for what we've asked the universe for, and know that life is happening for you. Things are happening behind the scenes to bring everything together that you can't even imagine how beautiful it's going to be. But you gotta get back up. And so, again, thank you. I apologize that I just completely went MIA. I did want to let you know, though. So, obviously, I'm still kind of getting things together. Let me grab this real quick. So, I had done the coaching course, and I was going to do group coaching. And part of my timeout phase was kind of reviewing that, because I do believe in coaching. I believe in the power of coaching. But when I got to thinking about it, coaching is expensive, and I wanted to reach people and help them, and the price point of coaching can shut people out. And so I was like, that's counterproductive for what I want to accomplish. So the coaching course became a book. And yes, I changed the title. But all the information that was in the course is now in the book. And what I plan to do going forward, like I said, is still under construction, still a lot up, down, unpredictable happening in my life. And I'm just flowing with it, just rolling with it. What are we doing today? But what I want to do when I'm a little more predictable as far as my health, I want to start scheduling lives where you can ask questions, bring your concerns, and we can do coaching just on a very casual basis, though, like not paid coaching, it's just part of my channel, and I still want to offer what I hope to be useful advice, guidance, and by sharing my story, like, look, if you're going through it, and this is something I tell myself, wash your face, girl. I go in the closet, cry. If you're at work, go in the bathroom, have a good cry, wash your face, keep going. Because when we hold still, when we stop, when we freeze, when we give up, that's when everything we're not moving from that spot. If we want to get out of it, if we want to move away from the pain point, we have to take action. And again, it's that inspired action. We'll be guided if we stay open to the direction. We'll be guided in the step to take. We'll have that intuitive nudge. That's where you need to go. We have to listen to that and pursue it. And so that's just, I wanted to put that out there. Like, again, I have rambled like crazy. I'll get it together. I should have stuck with my notes, right? Thank you so much. I look forward to sharing more content here soon. I'm also working on a second book, specifically on parenting, because God knows that in itself is adversity and teen years, and oh Lord. But thank you again, and I hope you all have a fabulous day.